But the ancients used these various types of rocks and stones, seals and bulla. There's another picture of some right there I was going to get to and show you. The wind helped me out here. Where they actually inscribe the seal in the clay, and then they use that as a stamp marker. Sometimes they wrote their names on those, and we now know that they had the names that the Book of Mormon people claimed that they had. It's in the right time, and it's in the right place in the Israelite period. This is exquisite archaeological support for the Book of Mormon. These names are not made up. They really are genuine ancient names. Here's one where the person's actual name was actually inscribed right onto the bulla, the seal itself. So we know this was their practice. It is because of the direct archaeological discoveries of several either caches of papyri or these types of seals and bulla, etc., that we have discovered so many dozens of Book of Mormon names. Jeffrey Chadwick, one of the scholars and archaeologists, has discovered the name of Sariah in the Elephantine Papyri. Now, the interesting implication of the Elephantine Papyri is more than just discovering this genuine Book of Mormon non-biblical name for a woman, but it also shows that the Jews who escaped the destruction of Jerusalem in antiquity, they ran down to Egypt, and after the Babylonians destroyed the Jews in Jerusalem, the Jews in Elephantine built a temple, just exactly like King Solomon's. That is what the Jews were doing. They did build other temples besides that found in Jerusalem. That's exactly one of the first things Nephi did when he landed. As a Jew properly, he wanted a temple. And so he built one in the manner of King Solomon's temple, only it wasn't so grand and magnificent and grandiose because they just didn't have the materials or the manpower. Solomon's temple, according to several of the Masonic legends that I've been studying now on King Solomon's temple, he employed hundreds of thousands of workers. Well, Nephi didn't have near that many. But the theme, the idea of a Jew building a temple outside of Jerusalem has now also been archaeologically confirmed. And in the process of that aspect of the Book of Mormon, we have also found that the female name Sariah is a genuine female name. In the right time and in the right place. That's an archaeological discovery that supports the Book of Mormon. A critic who is informed of this can no longer make the claim that the Book of Mormon has no evidence in its favor, at least not with any credibility. They continue to say this, but they have no support, and they have never refuted the Elephantine Papyri. I have never, ever seen a critic discuss the Elephantine Papyri in relation to the Book of Mormon. They ignore it. Rightly so. It destroys their favorite argument. They have this wild, interesting, weird assumption that everything about Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon, in this game of one-upmanship, the score must remain 0 for the Book of Mormon. It's not 0, folks. The Book of Mormon has scores of evidences for it. So, it was written in Elephantine, Egypt in the 5th century BC. It wasn't discovered until the 20th century. Joseph Smith was dead by the time Elephantine was discovered. And then, of course, Paul Hoskisson, the Assyriologist at BYU, he was following up on previous notes from Hugh Nibley, showed that the name Alma appears on a Jewish document of the early 2nd century AD, which was also found in Israel. Terence Zink provided evidence that the name Alma is even older, being attested in clay tablets found at the northwestern Syrian site of Ebla, and it dates to the second half of the 3rd millennium BC. The name Alma has not just been archaeologically discovered once, but twice and possibly 3 times by different male people named Alma. That Book of Mormon name is no longer a laughing matter, at least not to the serious scholar and archaeologist. It has been absolutely attested in several archaeological discoveries. A number of other biblical names have been found at Ebla, which is the region that some scholars consider to be the homeland of the Hebrews. And then some peculiarities of the Hebrew language is fascinating in light of the Book of Mormon. And we have discovered this through the study of linguistics, semantics. Because of the archaeological discovery of, say, the Dead Sea Scrolls, we now know more about the Paleo-Hebrew as well as the evolution of the Hebraic language. The ancient Israelites spoke the same language as their neighbors, the Canaanites, though there may have been some dialectical variation, of course. The Canaanite languages, the Canaanite Hebrew, the Phoenician, is a descendant of Punic, Moabite, Ammonite, and Edomite. The larger family of these groups of languages is called the Semitic language. The Book of Mormon displays characteristics of the Semitic language. These are echoes of the actual origin of the Book of Mormon. They are in the Book of Mormon. It's fascinating. The Canaanite languages, along with other Semitic languages, were written with consonants only, left to right, rather than from right to left, rather than from left to right orientation of English writing. The reader had to mentally add the vowels according to the context of the words. This is the case still in modern Hebrew. The vowels found in the medieval Hebrew Bible scrolls and in modern printed Bibles were supplied by later scribes. So the Hebrew form of the word Alma is written Ayin, Lamed, Mem, Ayin. All you have is the L and the M. From the Hebrew phonetic rules, the most likely pronunciation is Alma, just like the inscription writes. And Yigal Yadin, the discoverer, rendered it as Alma in English in the Bar Kokhba documents. Hebrew names tend to have meanings in that language, and it makes it possible for us to assign etymologies to most of the names discussed in this article. We've discussed Sariah as a Prince of Jehovah, or Jehovah is a Prince, which is a very beautiful rendition of Lehi's wife's name. They were, the theophoric element is usually translated as IAH in the Bible, or JAH in Sariah. So it has to do with Jehovah. Now, other Book of Mormon names, in addition to Alma and Sariah, have been discovered. A number of other Nephite names are attested in ancient Hebrew inscriptions. Now notice this. It's not the Syrian inscriptions. It's not the Mesopotamian inscriptions. It's not the Babylonian inscriptions. These are directly off of the Hebrew bullet and seals that have been discovered thus far. That's not to say these names are only Hebrew, but we absolutely have the discovery of them as ancient Hebrew. There is no question now, archaeologically, that these names are genuine. The names are Ahah, Ammon-Ihah. Now, who would name their kid Ammon-Ihah? It's such a fascinatingly weird name. Yeah, what's your name? I'm Ammon-Ihah. You know, you can see that in grade school, can't you? Ammon-Ihah, are you here? Yeah, here. What kind of a name is Ammon-Ihah? It's a Hebrew name, to be sure. Not a modern English one, but it's definitely a Hebrew. Not only that, but Chemish, Hagoth, Himni, Isabel, Jeram, Josh, Luram, Mathoni, Mathonihah, Mulekai, and Sam. Every one of these names have been archaeologically discovered in Hebrew inscriptions. Now, if that's against the Book of Mormon, I would really like to see how.